Today we're going to be making the Lactobacillus Reuteri yogurt in the sous vide. Hi everybody, I'm Anita. Welcome back to my channel. This is where I show you how I've lost 145 pounds following an animal-based ketogenic diet. We're gonna make yogurt. I want to tell you that this video is not meant to be a lesson in making yogurt or a complete tutorial or the ultimate guide to making the Lactobacillus Reuteri yogurt. I know some of you are going to laugh at how I pronounce that, but I Googled it and Google told me that that's how it was pronounced. I've been saying L.Reuteri, like, you know, shortening up the lactobacillus because it is a mouthful. Call it whatever you want. It is the feel-good yogurt that everyone's been talking about for over a year. This book was written by William Davis, Dr. Davis. It's called Super Gut. You may or may not remember him from a few years ago. He's the one that wrote Wheat Belly and a couple of other books like that. So I've been aware of this yogurt for quite some time, and I've been making it in my sous vide. So I'm just going to show you how I make it in the sous vide so that those of you who have a sous vide know how to do it. You don't have to have a yogurt maker or an Instant Pot, because a lot of people are doing it in those two things. And yes, if you have those, that's great. My Instant Pot doesn't have the proper heat or anything for it doesn't have a yogurt setting to make this yogurt. I'm also going to, once I get it started, I'm going to tell you why I chose to do this. You know, but I'm going to show you the basics and get it started. Those of you who don't care why I'm doing it, you can then skip ahead to the part where I take it out and you see how wonderful it is and all that. But those of you who want to know why I would take this on, stay tuned after this little segment here where I'm going to go over what is in my yogurt. So there's only a few basic ingredients. Now, if you're making the yogurt for the very first time, you need this. This is the actual culture that makes the L.Reuteri. Did I say? I get a third way to say it. L.Reuteri yogurt. It's little tablets. I'm going to show them to you. So they come in these little tablets here. This is 10. So this is what you need for your very first batch if you don't have any starter. Now, I only used this once. I've been making my subsequent batches from the yogurt of the previous batch. I've also saved some yogurt starter in my freezer. I measured out a bunch of little 2 tablespoon balls of yogurt, and they are frozen, and you can certainly do that. That will prevent you from having to buy too many of these, because I believe that, you know, you shouldn't go too many generations. I think I've heard 10 generations before you use the tablets again. But I wanted you to know that you do have to use something for your very first batch to get it started. So for your very first batch, you need 10 of these tablets. You need 2 tablespoons of this Inulin prebiotic fiber. There's various kinds. I ordered both these items from Amazon. If you're in my area, I'm in Western Canada, Shoppers Drug Mart carries that. I haven't found them anywhere else. And you need a quart of half and half. Here we call it a liter. They're a little bit different in size, within a few ounces. I didn't care enough to worry about that difference. So I'm going to refer to this as a quart because most of you that follow me are from the US, and you will recognize this as a quart. So here in my area, we don't have the ultra pasteurized half and half. We have some ultra pasteurized milk, but I prefer it with half and half. And there's only 2 ingredients in mine, and it is cream and milk, or milk and cream in that order. When you don't have the unpasteurized, it is recommended to heat up your milk, which I've already done, to 180 degrees, minimum 180 degrees. That will kill any of the other bacteria that are in the milk. Not that there's any bad bacteria, but you don't want the bacteria that's existing in your milk or cream to overpower the L.Reuteri probiotics. So that's why we heat the milk. Unless you have the ultra pasteurized, then apparently you don't have to. So when you heat that up to 180 degrees, you then have to let it cool down to below 100, like 100 or below. So the L.Reuteri yogurt is cultivated in the sous vide. It's going to be fermented for 36 hours and at 100 degrees. Anything above that could potentially kill your little guys that are doing all this work. And so you've got to let that cool down, and that's what I'm doing right now. While it's cooling down though, I'll just tell you, so I'm going to do it in this big jar. Some people use 3 or 4 small jars in their sous vide, or if you have a yogurt maker, they come with 6 or 8 jars. Now I've sterilized all these, that's why they're sitting here. I'm going to mix everything up in here, and we can start actually with that. We can start by mixing our base. So this is my last batch of yogurt. Actually, I'll show you with a spoon here. Give you a close-up on how nice and creamy it is. It is like Greek yogurt. I just love it. It's probably the best yogurt I've ever tasted. I've never been one for plain yogurt. I don't really like plain yogurt. I always thought it tasted too sour or tangy or something. I don't know, but this one is mild and it's really nice. So I'm going to, you don't have to be precise here. I'm going to just scoop out 2 tablespoons. And you can use, like if there's liquid, you can use the whey. It doesn't have to be the thick part of the yogurt. I'm just going to put this back in the fridge. And then I am going to mix in 2 tablespoons of the Inulin prebiotic fiber. I will put links to these down below so that you can check them out, but compare the prices to, like, from Amazon to your local store to see what that's like. So I'm just stirring it until it's smooth, and then I'll be adding, as soon as this milk is below 100 or at 100, I will be adding it in here. So I'm just going to check that temperature again. We're getting there. It's just a little over 100, so it won't be too much longer now. So while we're waiting, I will tell you that the recipe is on page 233 of the Super Gut book. Now, this is one of a few recipes in here. This only contains the one culture. He has another recipe that a lot of people do make as well. It's called the Super Gut yogurt, and it has, I believe, 3 probiotics in it. Indigo Neely has made that yogurt, and I want to give a shout out to Neely because she took time out to talk to me. I had some questions, and so thank you, Neely, for doing that. Please go and check her channel because I think she's made it with her Instant Pot. She's made, different, how she is. She likes to experiment. And so she's made it a couple of different ways, and she's got the tips and tricks, and it's really helped her on her journey, to have better digestion and all that. So she's got quite a few videos. So do check them out. The only thing I think she doesn't have is a sous vide video. So that's where mine comes in. I'll put a link below to a couple of her videos that talk about this. I would like to take a moment to thank Element for sponsoring today's video. I have used Element now for a couple of years. It's something else that I do daily, 1 to 2 packets, hot or cold. We had snow yesterday, so I am enjoying hot Element tea. It has a science-backed formula of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium that help me with my headaches, leg cramps, just general feelings like that. So right now, Element is offering to my viewers this 8 flavor sample pack. You get all 8 of their regular flavors in this package, which will be added to your cart when you make a purchase from their website. That link will be on the screen below as well as underneath for clickability, and the link is drinkelement.com/ketogenic woman. That's DRINKLMNT.com/ketogenic woman. I hope you give it a try, and you can also sprinkle just a little bit, I love the citrus, a little bit on your L.Reuteri yogurt. It's delicious. So let's see if our cream has cooled down. It's still just over. Okay, this has cooled down sufficiently, so I'm just going to pour it into here. Just give it a little stir. Make sure our slurry of prebiotic and probiotic is all in there, mixed in. Pour it in here.
This should be fun.
There. See, this one pours properly. So now we're going to put it in here, and so we don't want to put a tight lid on it. I'm just going to cover it loosely, just with some wrap. I don't actually have a lid that fits on this, but if you had a lid, what you do is you can screw it on, but just not tight, just very loosely so that pressure doesn't build up inside. And then just going to place it in here. You do want to make sure that your water level is above the yogurt or the dairy or whatever it is right now, the liquid. You want to make sure that it covers that. So it's almost, I've got it almost to the max line on my Instant Pot wand here. So by the way, this circulating wand is made by Instant Pot. This is my Instant Pot liner. You can use any wand, any circulation wand. You can use any big pot, big enough to hold your wand, and be able to screw it onto the side. Normally I use this for making great meat, but it does double duty as a yogurt maker. So here we go with this for 36 hours, and I'm going to be back. Okay, so for those of you that want to listen to why I did this, stay here. The rest of you can skip ahead to 36 hours from now when the yogurt is ready. That's how long it has to sit in that pot now. So we'll be back in the next segment. Since we have a moment or so, I will tell you what I'm going to try to explain why I am making this yogurt, which by the way is actually cultured dairy. It's because of there's some technicality that makes it not a yogurt. It makes it a cultured dairy product. Now I don't do dairy, so this seems like something that I wouldn't do, but the thing is with this dairy, this is like people who can't do dairy but can drink raw milk. It's kind of along those same lines. The 36 hours of culturing, or I should say fermenting, that happens in the sous vide. What happens there is that any of the sugars that are in the milk, those sorts of things, are being eaten by the probiotics and prebiotic, and so the end result is a dairy that does not affect me the way drinking a glass of milk would. So just something to keep in mind for those people that are hesitant to do this because they feel that dairy affects them. So what got me is that I've had this book for a year. I didn't read it because I just felt like, oh, I don't think any of that applies to me. I think I'm good. And it just seemed like a lot of work to make the yogurt. But what has been going on is that about 3 years ago, I went off of a medication that I was on. I was on 40 milligrams of Nexium for about 15 years, and I weaned myself off and, felt okay. And around the same time, I went carnivore. And so I think that all that went really well at first with my digestion and everything and not getting heartburn. But the last 3, 4, 5 months, I noticed that it was coming back and I was getting worse and worse, acid reflux again. I'm doing everything right as far as I could tell. I was, eating at no later than 4 o'clock. So I had all this time to digest my food and, just all those things, getting cleaner and cleaner all the time and feeling worse and worse, digestion-wise. And then a lot of you know that there's almost very few things that I can actually eat. And so my things that I could eat and tolerate is just getting smaller and smaller. Now, in some ways, that's been a good thing because it's caused me to eliminate all kinds of things that weren't good for me anyways. I do believe that the meat is a good thing. So that's, I don't have an issue with that. But I do have an issue with, having constant feeling of burning in my chest and my stomach. It was just interesting the way that some people presented their symptoms. The symptoms didn't really apply to me. I wasn't having diarrhea. There was a lot of symptoms I wasn't getting. But when I read the book, I realized that a lot of things that I had gone through made me a perfect candidate for this. Things like lots of rounds of antibiotics as a child, certain medical procedures and things like that. There was, I can't even think of them off the top of my head. I really just wanted to show how to get the yogurt going. But there was quite a few boxes in his discussion about why should somebody consider this yogurt. There was a lot of things that I was like, oh, that is me, check. There was only a couple things that didn't apply. It was enough that I felt compelled to at least give it a chance. I noticed after the first day an immediate difference. So I had started getting to the point where I was living on Tums again, and that was ridiculous. Like I just couldn't abide by that, and now I think in the last 2 weeks I've maybe had 3 of them total. And a couple of times that was self-inflicted, like with a restaurant meal, things like that. So it's been like 98% improvement, and I feel like it's just getting better and better. So that's why I decided to do this, and I'm going to continue to do it. And as I learn more, and if I have a follow-up, definitely going to share that with you all. Look at that. It has been 36 hours. A couple of things I need to mention really quickly here before I put this in the fridge. No separation. There is no separation. It's top to bottom, nice thick yogurt. One thing that I learned with all of the videos I watched and the reading and everything about making this yogurt is that if so many people warned me that my first batch would separate for sure, the batch with the tablets, and it didn't. And I feel that's because I had the liquid at the right temperature before starting. I noticed a lot of people said don't use it cold from the fridge. And that's for those that are using the ultra pasteurized. Mine, needs to be warmed up because it's not the ultra pasteurized. So if you have it at the right temperature, you are less likely to have an issue with separation. And subsequent batches shouldn't separate. And the other thing might be the sous vide. I don't know, but I always make sure my sous vide liquid or the water in the sous vide pot is up to the level of the liquid, and maybe that helps too. So the other lesson that I just learned now is you really have to be conscious of your 36 hours. For instance, if you start this yogurt at 3 in the afternoon, 36 hours later, do the calculation, because 36 hours later means that you are getting up at 3 in the morning, the 36 hours later, to put it in the fridge. You don't want it to go longer. You can take it out maybe a little bit sooner, not much though. The prime time for the L.Reuteri cultures to build up is those last few hours. So you want it to be in there 36 hours. After the 36-hour mark, according to Dr. Davis, they will start to die off because it'll be too long. So it's important to take it out at 36 hours and put it immediately in the fridge. I just thought of a third thing. While it's fermenting for those 36 hours, do not lift up your lid. Do not stir it. If you stir it, that will result in separation. Lifting the lid could result in contamination. So set it and forget it. Now it's going directly in the fridge. And by the way, the reason I mentioned the thing about the 3 a.m. is that it's 5:30 a.m. here, and I realized with horror after we started the 36-hour batch is that I'm going to be having to be on camera at dawn. So lesson learned for me as well. Anyways, this is off to the fridge, and then in the next segment, I'm going to show you how, the texture, everything, how it looks like, and give you a little bit more information. We'll see you then. Okay, so here's our finished yogurt. It's been in the fridge for about 3 hours, and that's probably the minimum I would recommend. So I'm going to take it off the lid or the plastic. Smells good. So I know that some of you might be wondering or will ask how much in a day to eat. So I am personally having somewhere between a 1/4 cup and a 1/2 cup, depending on my symptoms, whether any of them flare up or not. If I have any symptoms flare up during the day, those symptoms were listed on the screen in the last section of this video where I talked about why I'm doing this. So, you can go back to that and look. But if I have any of those things flare up, then I will have a 1/4 cup. And I also always have a 1/4 cup in the evening, whether I need it or not. I'm getting a better sleep. My sleep scores have gone through the roof lately. So many good reasons. I'm just going to take out a 1/4 cup so you can see what that looks like. I do, dump it in here so that I can get this washed and cleaned to go on my next batch. So I just want to show the texture here. You can see that it is very thick. It is creamy. There's no separation. I usually, to dump it out of this jar, I take my long spatula and I kind of separate it from the sides. And then I dump it. Needs a little bit more help. So there we go. This is a few days worth. So it might look a little curdy here, but I assure you it's not. It's just the way it dumps out. So it is very smooth and creamy when you're eating it. And if you take a spoon and spoon it out, you can see. The thickness and texture is also going to depend on what you used. If you're using, cream, the first batch I made with heavy cream, and boy, that was thick. This is with coffee cream, like half and half. Is what I think it's called in most places, or table cream or coffee cream. And some people make it with milk. So it depends on what you're looking for. So let's give this a try. This is basically what I call a serving. It's so good. I can't even describe the taste. I have no issue eating it like this. If you have issues, you could add a little stevia. You could add some berries if you're doing keto, like 6 blueberries on top of this would be amazing. You could add about 1/8 of a package of citrus element. It'll make it taste like lemon yogurt. You could just eat it like this. Whatever it is you want to do that helps you. My only regret is that I didn't read the book a year ago when I had the book. I wish I had done that, because so many things that I react badly to, I have a feeling that some of this is going to resolve itself a little bit. Not that I'm going to change how I eat, but it sure has changed how I feel in the meantime, because even just being clean carnivore has been a struggle for me, and all of a sudden it's not. This is what I attribute that to. So I hope that you give it a try, and please tell me below what more you would like to see on this subject. I know there's lots of videos out there. I'm going to link up Indigo Neely's videos. I'm going to link up a video from Dr. Davis that talks about the 12 symptoms or 12 ways you can determine if you have SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is what I think I have. So of his 12, I scored 9 out of 12. So, and that is why I think this is helping me so much. So let me know down below what you want to see. If you want to see me making it a different way. My yogurt maker came yesterday, and so I'm quite happy about that. I'm going to be able to have good production from that. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope it helps even just one person out there. We'll see you guys next time.
I forget a third way to say it. L.Reuteri, did I say it? I forget a third way to say it. L.Reuteri yogurt. It's little tablets. I know some of you are going to laugh at how I pronounce that, but I Googled it. The L.Reuteri probiotics.